Hello guys, this is the Washington Post and today we are interviewing
John Lesanta.
and
I can't name it.
we will be starting off with the first question as what topics need to be addressed in this election?
What topic? I'm sorry, it's kind of loud in here. What's the topic?
What topics need to be addressed in this election?
What topics need to be addressed in the election? I definitely think crime reduction should be a topic in this. Immigration and economy, certainly economy. It should be heavily discussed in this next election.
And how exactly do you plan to improve the economy?
I plan to improve the economy by raising interest rates and lowering a certain amount of taxes for people, as that will decrease inflation. As we guys know, our inflation rate is at 8.7 according to the latest December release. According to the latest December release, our inflation rate is currently at 8.7. That's the highest it's been in 40 years. I don't think it's acceptable for a country such as ours that is heavily dependent on the dollar, not only the dollar being the standard currency around the world.
So when you say lowering taxes for people, what people exactly?
I think for all people, especially lower class, I think all classes should be reduced in taxes, depending on their circumstance, on their how much they make.
And how do you plan to improve the gap in the wage gap between?
The wage gap. I plan to spend more money on education. Although not a substantial amount more, but more money on education, on specifically funded education, on lower income groups and stuff.
How do you feel about current gun laws? I'm sorry. How do you feel about current gun laws?
Which gun laws are you referring to?
Well, all guns, like, two specific ones. They should be.
How to obtain?
How to obtain?
Yes. How to,
I think every gun that is bought inside the United States should be registered, although that is hard to happen because, some might sell it off the record and stuff like that. I do believe that everyone is allowed to own guns, Second Amendment law, Second Amendment right. Everyone has the right to bear arms. Everyone has the right to open carry, concealed carry, all based on their certification, as long as their education in schools on gun, especially in the rise of school shootings and whatnot. I think there should be an increase on that. No criminal record, no felonies until a certain period of time. Like, let's say you have a felony and then 10 to 15 years later, then you can get a gun.
do you feel that there should be any restrictions on what type of guns?
I think heavy military grade weapons should not be allowed. Semi-autos could be allowed, but not fully autos. That should still be banned. A certain degree of caliber should be banned, and whatnot. Yeah. And if you want a higher grade weapon, the higher you go, the more education and the more rigorous it is for you to get that gun, and more education on that weapon itself, and more thorough background check on you to keep the country safe.
Would you call yourself an environmentalist?
Although I focus more on topics such as economy and immigration and crime, I do have a concern over our environment and some of the things that we're doing towards our environment, and I think some of the things can be improved. But to an extent, I am an environmentalist, but not a heavy one.
Do you believe in climate change?
I do believe in climate change.
Is there anything you plan to do to improve the situation?
What happened?
Is there anything you plan to do to improve the situation?
On the environment?
Yes.
I would battle OPEC and they're less producing oil, and then I would also pass more laws on more regulatory on how they clean certain things, how we dispose of certain things, car emissions and all that. Although I don't believe we should go all electric, as I don't think that's feasible within the next years. I think there should be less emissions.
What are your thoughts on immigration?
Immigration. I believe that immigration should be welcomed according to our quota in the United States. I don't think illegal immigration should be supported. Like I don't think someone should just come in like when they want to. Like you wouldn't want someone coming into your house without your permission. That's my personal views on immigration. I think everyone should go through the process. I would double down on immigration on let's say the process to make it faster. How exactly?
Yeah.
So I would increase funding on immigration offices, immigration officers, and for them to for processing times to be faster for the immigrants. And
Where do you get this money?
where do I plan to get this money from our federal spending, as well?
To increase taxes?
No, I don't plan to increase taxes.
What are your thoughts on the current spending of military?
I think spending on military is a very important aspect of our nation, especially on the topic of immigration and our foreign policy. As right now, Ukraine is, as you know, the Ukraine and Russia situation is heavily talked about, and it's a very tense subject that I personally, as a president, would have handled differently. I would have put more military pressure on Russia, as they're clearly doing that's not lawful, and I think I would have put more military pressure on them.
So if you get elected, will you be doing that?
Yes, depending on the circumstance, I would not attack first. I would want to keep my domestic views is like on immigration. You know how immigration. I would rather keep our country safer than other countries. Of course, I'm willing to help out other countries, but I'm also very focused on keeping our country safe. So I would, yet again, protect our country like, let's say a watchdog would protect their house. I wouldn't be so aggressive, but I would be passive aggressive. I don't think America should be stepped on with the amount of military power and brain power each citizen of the U.S. has.
Are you going to equip Ukraine with more weapons?
I would if the situation keeps going. I would equip Ukraine with more weapons, and if that doesn't work, I would have some naval involvement or Air Force involvement. I would be reluctant on sending troops right now, considering what happened in Afghanistan, and I would definitely not keep people in Afghanistan for 20 years as they were before.
How do you feel about increasing the rate of refugees coming to the United States from Ukraine?
You see, I would support the increase the rate of refugees that are coming from Ukraine. As you know, devastation is like widespread in Ukraine right now because of Russia's actions. And how would I handle it? You said I would give them the choice. I know it's a hard choice, but I would give them the choice if they want to become a citizen or if they want to become a resident in the United States, or if they would rather wait here. But I would put a limit on how many people are waiting. I would probably strike a deal with other allied nations to see how we would handle refugees, because I just don't want to have that many. I think the government spending would be too much on having all the refugees come here. I would probably strike a deal with other allied nations. How do I feel about systemic racism? I think systemic racism is terrible. I don't think systemic racism should be a thing.
It is currently in the United States.
I do believe some people have that racist in them, but
Will you change something about it?
describe what you want. Like, what do you think I should?
Is there any policies you want to put in place to
Help it out.
improve the situation?
Like, in what sense? Because a lot of people who are racist tend to not say anything.
Systemic racism is that in the United States' system itself, it favors.
Yeah, but you can't overgeneralize one system based on select individuals who are racist, because I would honestly double down and make sure that everyone is equal under the law, which is what I think of law and order. Everyone's equal under the law regardless of whatever. And yeah, that's honestly what I would double down in, because and if you see racist treatment, I encourage in government facilities, and I would probably pass a law for private facilities, private systems as well, that if they see racist treatment, that they automatically get questioned, and depending on the situation, they get fired.
What makes you better than all the other candidates?
What makes me better than other candidates? Well, I'm currently the governor of Florida. Although some say that Kamala Harrison is the vice president, I currently haven't seen that much of Kamala Harrison in the news or being a vice president. I haven't seen her go down to the border, which is what she is supposed to be doing. I haven't seen her do that. Florida, we've been 6 months ahead of any other state coming out of the pandemic. I think that's something I'm very proud of. As something that I think Florida could be a model state for the other states, and it supports the freedom, it supports to personal choice, it supports to all of that. And certainly our economy was thriving way before 6 months ahead with the other states coming out of that stretch from the coronavirus. And considering that I've been reelected, I think I've done a pretty good job with Florida. Florida.
Would you change something in the healthcare system?
In the healthcare system, I would certainly lower the amount of abuse that the healthcare system does on people in regards to pricing. I would strive to free healthcare, but I don't think that'd be feasible for the government. But yeah.
Do you plan to improve or decrease the taxes in the United States?
I would decrease taxes in the United States, yeah, to a certain extent. I wouldn't nearly decimate them, but I would lower them a little bit.
That's all we have.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
This is the Washington Post.